My name is Rachel Winters, and I've been a ski patrol member at Breckenridge Ski Resort for 14 years. Before I tell you what happened on Christmas Eve 2023, before I explain why I can no longer look at falling snow the same way, I need you to understand something. If you're planning a ski trip to Colorado this winter, if you're bringing your family to the mountains for the holidays, you need to hear this. What I'm about to share could save your life. Before continuing, if you subscribe and like this video, you will be contributing greatly to the continuation of new stories to come. And I'm curious, where are you watching from right now? Have you ever been skiing in Colorado? Drop your location in the comments. I need to know how many people might be at risk. There's a specific area on Peak 8, roughly 2.3 miles northwest of the main summit, where the tree line breaks into a small bowl we call the Christmas Basin. It's not on the trail maps. It never has been. If you ask the resort about it, they'll tell you it's permanently closed due to avalanche danger, but that's not the real reason. Everyone who's worked patrol here long enough knows the truth, or at least pieces of it. What I'm about to tell you goes against every non-disclosure agreement I signed when I started this job, against every warning from the resort management. But after what happened last December, after learning that 3 more people went missing on Christmas Eve 2024, I can no longer remain silent. I grew up in Summit County. My father was ski patrol before me, and his father before him. I've pulled dozens of people from avalanches, performed CPR on frozen slopes, splinted broken bones in whiteout conditions. I have professional medical training, wilderness first responder certification, and avalanche safety expertise. Before December 24th, 2023, I thought I'd seen every kind of danger these mountains could produce. I was wrong. The call came in at 3:33 p.m. on Christmas Eve. A family of 4 had been reported missing by another skier who saw them heading toward the Christmas Basin area despite the closed signs and rope barriers. The father had apparently insisted they could handle the terrain. It was a bluebird day, crystal clear, temperature hovering around 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect conditions. No weather concerns. No avalanche risk. Just a routine retrieval of some stubborn tourists who'd ignored the warnings. I took the call with my partner, Marcus Chen, who'd been on patrol for 8 years. We loaded our packs, checked our radios, and headed up on snowmobiles. The sun was already getting low, that golden winter light that makes the snow look like it's glowing. Beautiful, peaceful. We followed the tracks easily enough at first. 2 adults, 2 kids based on the ski sizes. They ducked under the rope barrier and headed straight into the basin. Marcus radioed base to confirm we were entering the closure area and we'd report back in 20 minutes. Standard procedure. The Christmas Basin got its name back in the 1950s when a family went missing there on Christmas Day. They found the parents 3 days later, frozen solid, still holding hands. The children were never found. There have been 23 documented disappearances in that area since then. 23, always between December 20th and December 25th. Always families. The resort doesn't talk about it. The county doesn't publicize it. There's a classified agreement with the Department of Homeland Security that dates back to 1987. I've seen the file. It's stamped with clearances I don't have. We found their tracks leading down into the bowl, and that's when I noticed something wrong. The shadows. The sun was to the west, obviously, setting, but the shadows from the trees were falling northeast, not northwest, where they should have been. I pointed it out to Marcus, and he stopped his snowmobile, pulled out his compass. The needle spun, just spun and spun without settling. He tapped it, shook it, but it kept spinning. GPS? I asked. He checked his unit. The coordinates showed us at 3948 117 to key in, 106.0384 DW, which would have placed us about 400 feet underground, inside the mountain itself. My unit showed the same thing. Our radios produced only static, not interference, not the crackle of bad reception, a specific kind of static that had rhythm to it, almost like breathing. The temperature dropped. I watched my breath thermometer on my pack go from 18 degrees to -4 in about 30 seconds, but I didn't feel colder. If anything, the air felt warm against my skin. Marcus looked at me, and I could see my own confusion reflected in his face. We should have turned back right then. Protocol says, if your equipment fails, you abort and request backup. But we could see the family's tracks continuing down into the basin, and we could hear something. Singing. Children singing Christmas carols. We followed the sound. The snow in the basin was perfect powder, completely untouched except for the single line of tracks we were following. No wind had blown here, no animals had crossed. Just those 4 sets of tracks leading down and down into the bowl. The trees around us were all aspens, but aspens don't grow at this elevation. Aspens top out around 10,000 feet, and we were at nearly 12,000. These trees shouldn't exist here, but there they stood, their white bark almost glowing in the weird light, their bare branches reaching up like skeletal hands. The singing got louder. Silent night in children's voices, but the harmony was wrong. Too many voices for 2 children. Maybe a dozen voices, all young, all perfectly synchronized. Marcus grabbed my arm and pointed ahead. Through the trees, we could see them, the family, standing in a perfect circle in the center of the basin, holding hands, swaying slightly. They were singing too, but their mouths weren't moving. I called out to them. Ski Patrol, we're here to help you get back to the lodge. My voice sounded flat, dead, like the air was swallowing the sound. They didn't respond, didn't turn around, just kept swaying, kept singing without moving their lips. We got closer, and I could see frost forming on their ski jackets, on their hair, spreading across their goggles. They'd only been missing for maybe 2 hours, but they looked like they'd been out here for days. That's when I saw the others. Children. Dozens of children standing in the trees around the basin, watching. They wore ski clothes from different eras. I saw a girl in a 1950s ski outfit, the kind with the belted jacket and wool pants. A boy in 1970s style one-piece suit. Others in 80s neon, 90s styles, modern gear. All of them around 8 to 12 years old. All of them perfectly still. All of them singing Silent Night in perfect harmony while their mouths remained closed. Marcus whispered, Rachel, we need to leave. Right now. But I couldn't move. I was watching the family in the center of the circle. The frost was spreading across them like living ice, crystallizing in patterns that looked almost like writing. The father's hand, the one holding his son's hand, was turning translucent, not freezing, transforming. I could see through his fingers to the bones inside, but the bones themselves were becoming crystal, geometric, something that wasn't bone anymore. The mother turned her head toward us then, and her eyes. Her eyes were wrong. They reflected light like a cat's eyes, but the light was coming from inside her skull, a soft blue-white glow that pulsed in time with the singing. She smiled at me and spoke. but her voice came from everywhere at once, from the trees, from the snow, from inside my own head. "It's Christmas," she said. "Time to join the celebration. Time to become part of the mountain. Time to sing forever." I grabbed Marcus and yanked him backward, breaking whatever spell had frozen us in place. We turned and ran, or tried to run, but the snow grabbed at our boots like hands. I looked down and I swear I saw fingers, white and crystalline, reaching up from the powder, grasping at our legs. The children in the trees started moving toward us, not running, just gliding across the snow without disturbing it, their feet not quite touching the ground. We fought our way uphill, our snowshoes sinking impossibly deep, the snow actively trying to pull us down. The singing changed to something older, not English anymore, not any language I recognized. Marcus was ahead of me, and I saw him stumble, fall forward, and when he hit the snow, it didn't scatter. It wrapped around him like liquid, like it was alive. I grabbed his pack and hauled him up, and chunks of snow clung to his jacket, moving, crawling upward toward his face. I don't remember how we made it out. I remember Marcus screaming. I remember my own voice joining his. I remember the sensation of being pulled backward while running forward, like reality itself was stretching. And then we were past the rope barrier, past the closure signs, and the world snapped back into normal physics. The sun was setting properly. Our radios crackled with normal static, and then Base's voice came through, asking for our status. Marcus's compass needle pointed north again. The temperature was 16 degrees, and it felt like it. We radioed in that we'd found no sign of the family, which was a lie. We'd found them. We'd seen exactly where they were and what was happening to them. But how do you explain that in a radio report? How do you tell your supervisor that the missing family is being transformed into living ice sculptures that will sing Christmas carols for eternity in a basin that shouldn't exist? We got back to the patrol station, and our supervisor, Tom Rodriguez, was waiting for us. He's been on patrol for 27 years. He took one look at our faces and said, "Christmas Basin?" We nodded. He closed the door to his office and pulled out a binder. Green cover, unmarked, thick with incident reports and photographs. He opened it to a page marked December 25th, 1952. A photograph showed two frozen bodies, a man and woman holding hands. In the background, barely visible in the trees, were shapes, small shapes, children's shapes. "The rule exists for a reason," Tom said. "We can't stop people from going in. We can only warn them." The closure has been in effect since 1953, but people ignore it every year. The mountain takes what the mountain wants. It's been doing this long before the resort was here, long before white people came to these mountains at all. He showed me other reports. 1967, family of 3, vanished Christmas Eve, never found. 1978, 2 families, gone. 1989, a group of teenagers. 2001, 2008, 2015, 2019. All the same pattern. All between December 20th and 25th. All in the Christmas Basin. And in every single photograph of the search areas, if you looked carefully at the trees in the background, you could see them. The children. More and more with each decade. The collection growing. I asked Tom what they were. He said he didn't know. His grandfather, who was Ute, had told him that the mountain remembers every child who died in winter, every frozen death, every avalanche burial, every family lost to the cold. The Christmas Basin is where they gather, where they wait. During the darkest part of winter, during the celebration of light and family, they want to join in. They want families to join them. They want to sing together forever. The families you saw, Tom said, they're not dead. They're being integrated, becoming part of the mountain's memory. In a few days, they'll be standing in those trees too, watching, waiting for the next Christmas. He closed the binder. There's nothing we can do for them. The process can't be reversed. We've tried. Back in the 80s, the federal government sent a team. Black ops, specialized equipment, the works. They went in on December 23rd, 1987. 17 people. 4 came back out. Those 4 spent the rest of their lives in psychiatric facilities, repeating the words to Silent Night over and over until they died. That night, I went home, and I couldn't stop shaking. I took a hot shower, but I still felt cold, a deep cold that had nothing to do with temperature. When I looked in the mirror, I saw frost patterns on my bathroom mirror, but when I touched them, they were on the inside of the glass. I watched them spread, watching them form shapes that looked almost like writing, like musical notes. Over the next few days, I did my own research. I found references to the Christmas Basin going back further than the 1950s. In 1889, a prospector's journal mentioned the singing basin where winter claims its children. Spanish colonial records from 1779 referenced El Valle de los Niños Cantantes, the Valley of Singing Children, and warned travelers to avoid it during the winter solstice. Ute oral histories, which I learned about through a friend who works with the local native community, speak of a place where the spirits of children lost to winter gather, a place where time works differently, where the boundary between the living world and the spirit world is thin. The mountain remembers, it collects, and every Christmas it calls out to families, wanting them to join the eternal celebration. I checked the missing persons reports. The family from Christmas Eve, 2023, was officially listed as lost to an avalanche, despite there being no avalanche activity that day. Their bodies were never recovered because there are no bodies to recover. They're standing in those trees right now, crystalline and singing, waiting for this Christmas to come around again. Marcus requested a transfer 2 weeks later. Last I heard, he's working ski patrol in Vermont, as far from the Rockies as he could get while staying in the mountains. He won't talk about what happened. I stayed. Someone has to maintain the barriers, has to warn people, has to try to keep families away from the Christmas Basin. But every year, someone ignores the signs. Every year, the collection grows. Here's what you need to know. If you're skiing in Colorado this Christmas, if you see a trail that's not on the map, if you see an area marked closed with no explanation, don't go there. If you hear children singing Christmas carols, but can't see where the sound is coming from, ski the other direction immediately. If your compass starts spinning, if your GPS shows impossible coordinates, if the shadows fall the wrong direction, get out of that area as fast as you can. The mountain doesn't care about your curiosity. It doesn't care about your skill level or your experience. It wants families. It wants children. It wants to add to its collection. 3 more people vanished from the Christmas Basin on Christmas Eve 2024. A couple and their teenage daughter. I was on duty that day, but I was assigned to a different sector. By the time the call came in about them being missing, it was already too late. We found their tracks leading into the basin. We didn't go in after them. Tom made that call, and he was right to make it. You can't save people who are already being transformed. You can only watch from the safe side of the barrier and listen to the singing get a little louder, a little more voices added to the eternal choir. I still work ski patrol at Breckenridge. I still love these mountains, but I understand them differently now. I understand that beneath the beauty and the snow and the tourist-friendly slopes, there are older things, ancient things, things that were here long before us and will be here long after. The Ute knew. They warned the Spanish. The Spanish warned the prospectors. The prospectors warned the early settlers. But we built a ski resort anyway. We brought thousands of people to these slopes every year, and every year during Christmas, the mountain takes its tribute. Sometimes on quiet nights, when I'm doing a late patrol sweep, I can hear it. Faint, carried on the wind, from the direction of Christmas Basin. Silent night, sung by dozens of voices, maybe hundreds now. Perfect harmony, beautiful and terrible. The song never ends. It just continues, looping eternally, a celebration that never concludes, a Christmas that lasts forever. I have a mark from that day. On my left hand, where I grabbed Marcus to pull him from the snow. 3 small spots, pale and slightly crystalline, like frost permanently embedded under my skin. They don't hurt, they don't spread. But sometimes, when it's very cold, I can feel them pulse in rhythm with a song I can't quite hear. In mirrors, under certain light, I can see things others can't. Reflections that move wrong. Shadows that belong to people who aren't there. I exist partially in their world now. Enough to see, not enough to fully cross over. A bridge, a witness, a warning. The resort will never close Christmas Basin permanently because they can't explain why without revealing the truth. The federal government won't intervene because they already tried and failed. The Ute tribal elders perform ceremonies at the winter solstice, blessing the boundaries, trying to strengthen the barriers, but they're fighting something that's been here since the mountains were formed. All we can do is maintain the warnings, keep the area roped off, and hope people listen. Most don't. Every Christmas, someone decides they know better. Someone decides the warnings are just the resort being overly cautious. Someone decides that fresh powder is worth ignoring a few signs. And the singing gets a little louder. The collection grows. The mountain remembers. So if you're planning a ski trip this holiday season, if you're bringing your family to Colorado, please listen. Stay on marked trails. Respect closure signs. If something feels wrong, if the physics seem off, if you hear singing that's too perfect, leave immediately. Don't investigate. Don't try to find the source. Don't think you're special or skilled enough to handle it. You're not. No one is. Time isn't a line in the Christmas Basin. It's a loop, an eternal moment of celebration and transformation. And once you enter that loop, you can't leave. You become part of the mountain's memory, part of its collection, singing forever in perfect harmony while your body slowly crystallizes into living ice. The families in the Christmas Basin aren't dead. They're transformed. They're expanded. They exist in a state between living and frozen, aware and singing, trapped and celebrating all at once. And every Christmas, they call out to others, wanting more voices for the choir, more families for the eternal celebration. I can't stop it. I can't save anyone who's already crossed into the basin. All I can do is warn you. All I can do is tell you the truth, that the resort and the county and the federal government don't want you to know. The Christmas Basin is real. The singing children are real. The transformations are real. And if you ignore the warnings, if you cross those barriers, you'll become real too. Real in a way that has nothing to do with the reality you know. Some boundaries exist for a reason. The Christmas Basin's boundaries are marked with rope and signs, but they're protecting something far more dangerous than avalanche terrain. They're protecting you from becoming part of the mountain's eternal Christmas, from joining the choir that never stops singing, from celebrating a holiday that never ends. This Christmas, stay safe. Stay on the marked trails. And if you hear Silent Night echoing through the aspens, where aspens shouldn't grow, ski the other direction and don't look back. The mountain remembers everything, and it's always listening, always calling, always collecting. Welcome to Colorado. Watch where you ski.